Hello everyone, this is Kay here, and I'm going to be showing you how I make my mustard-style pickled egg brine. So right now we have a cup of water in a pot, and I'm going to go ahead and add the 1.5 cups of apple cider vinegar. You can use white vinegar, but I prefer to use apple cider, and for this recipe I'm using Bragg's organic apple cider vinegar, which is my favorite. Next, we are going to add 2/3 cups of sugar. It seems like a lot, but once you taste the brine, you'll know why you have to add sugar in the first place. It balances out the spices. Next, we're going to go ahead and put in a teaspoon of kosher salt. And last but not least, we're going to go ahead and dump in the 3 tablespoons of mustard of your choice. I'm using Dijon mustard for this recipe, but you can use any type of mustard you want. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop this in, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done here. So this is the brine without being mixed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to my stove and turn the heat on medium. And when you turn the heat on medium, what you're going to want to do is take a whisk and just keep stirring this around. Try to break up the particles as much as you can. And you want to scrape the bottom so that you can dissolve that sugar in the salt. Giving it a good whisk every couple seconds or so in the first part of it. And once it starts to get hotter, the ingredients will begin to combine, and then you don't have to worry about it as much. So yeah, so keep mixing it like so. So right now, the mustard particles are all broken up, the sugar is dissolved, but it's not combining quite yet. So basically all you have to do now is just sit and wait a few minutes, stir, sit and wait a few minutes, stir. And our objective is to bring this up to a boil. Alright, the brine is now boiling, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn my heat down to low, and you're going to let this simmer for 5 minutes. Alright, our brine has been simmered and boiled, and look at that rich color. So now what I'm going to do is leave it off to the side and let it rest for roughly 15 to 20 minutes until it cools. The reason why you don't want to pour hot brine onto the eggs is because that will overcook them in the pickling process. And there's nothing more disgusting than eating a rubbery pickled egg. Alright, so now that the brine has cooled, I'm going to start putting the eggs into the jar, and I cut up some thinly sliced sweet onions to be put into the jar as well to be pickled. Some people like to use fennel and horseradish, but this is what I like to use. I'm going to keep it simple. Alright, so we've got the eggs and the onions into the jar. So now we're just going to start pouring the brine into the jar itself. And you want to make sure that everything in this jar is evenly coated. And if you make a mess, don't worry about it. You can easily wipe it up. And make sure to leave some room at the top as well so that you're able to seal your jar. Push down these onions that are at the top. There we go. Alright, I'm going to grab the lid, I'm going to seal this, and then on to the last step. Alright, so the eggs are sealed and ready to go. The only last step we have to do is mix up the brine a little bit in the jar, so give it a nice, good shake. Tip it over a little bit. And make sure that everything gets evenly coated. Alright, so it's been mixed up, so now we can go ahead and leave this in the fridge. You need to wait at least 48 hours for the eggs to properly pickle. They taste the best after about 7 days.